Welcome to another edition of Great Health, Abundant Happiness, and Outrageous Love. Almost couldn't reach you back there. I'm holding this thing up on this post.
Well, I'm so excited about today's video. We're doing it on sex or celibacy.
Yes.
So, I don't know whether to stand far away from you or...
Oh, you better stand back if you're going to start talking about those kinds of things. Unless you're talking about celibacy, I guess you got to stand way back there.
Well, that's why I was backing up a little bit, just to, set the mood of the video.
Yeah, so we were just talking about a bunch of things here. We're just that hummingbird going by was really cool. I have to show you a video. Remind me afterwards. This is wild out here, so it's still like we're on lots of snow. Nobody's here at all. So it's kind of cool up here right now. But the hummingbirds are back with the snow out here on the mountain. But there's no flowers or anything. But everybody's got nectar out. It's kind of great to watch them. But you have to remind me about that video I want to show you.
Yes, I want to see that. Didn't you say somebody recorded them building a nest and laying the eggs?
Yeah,
I mean, it must be so phenomenal because they're so tiny.
She's feeding them. It's just unbelievable. That long beak. It's just wild.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Anyway, so interesting. Speaking of interesting, I want to go back to this interesting topic. We're talking to another couple, a married couple, that decided that they were going to be celibate. So I wanted to talk with our group to see what you guys think about this topic. And I think you've got a few things you want to bring up on it. And we're not. By the way, what's great is you got the choice,
right?
And not saying that's a bad thing. And you are talking about people who are married
or in a long-term committed relationship. You don't have to be married to be at this stage of a long-term committed relationship. A lot of people are forgoing getting married these days and just together. But I also want to clarify, this couple has been married and has had a very according to them, healthy sex life prior to this, and then I'm not sure if it was solely her idea, but she stated that she wanted to be celibate for a lot of reasons, spiritually, right. But also she was not finding the same enjoyment in the sexual act itself as she had previously.
Sure, but let me be clear. What I want to make sure is, because someone might be going into a relationship, maybe they just got married and maybe they decided to be celibate their whole life, or maybe someone else. I guess the topic is between the two, right? Sex or no sex, right? Depending on where you are in the relationship, right? I just want to open it up. It's not just someone making a decision in the relationship, the other one going along.
Right.
Like, some people may start this way. Right?
So I think that there are couples that don't have sex. There is actually a term for that, and I apologize on my ignorance, because I recently read that, and I found that to be interesting and fascinating because, let's be real. Sex does not take up of the 24 hours, a huge portion of people's day if they're having sex, daily, right? So,
like some of us would like to brag and think it was taking all day, but no, you're right. So anyway,
and multiple times a day as well. So
and that being said, we've had these discussions too, because
absolutely.
Our relationship goes a lot deeper than just sex. We talked about this when I had that accident. The car ran me over. What if that happened? Right? We talked about that.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that definitely came into my mind, because I didn't know what I was walking into. I didn't know if I was going to be with somebody that was completely paralyzed or what. I only knew in that instance, and that's a great video. Please check it out, where Jeffrey got run over by a car and was, in the hospital for quite some time in recovery.
We didn't have a video of the car running me over.
No,
it's quite a while ago.
It was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
But I knew that in my mind, no matter what I was walking into, I was going to make it the best marriage ever. So, we do want to say that if sex is something that's not possible in a relationship, I don't think it's a make or break deal.
Well, that's fortunate for us. It isn't.
It isn't.
Right.
But in this particular instance that we're talking about, this is a marriage where sex it seemed like it was important in their relationship, but yet they decided then that they no longer wanted it to be part of the relationship because they wanted that energy to be placed elsewhere. And I just found that to be super interesting because, for me, and I don't want to speak for all women, but women in general, sex is more emotional, and for men in general, sex is more physical. And even as far as the arousal portion of it, it's pretty easy for men
keep going.
to get sexually aroused, whereas for women, and again I'll speak for myself, it's not a physical, usually it's not something that happens physically like it does for you. It's something that happens more emotionally. You might just gently touch me a certain
emotional
way and tell me something really sweet, and that touches my emotional senses. But what's interesting is, and I'm not against celibacy, and in fact, in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship, I think celibacy can be a really great thing, because sometimes sex can get in the way of seeing where a relationship is going if you're not in a committed relationship. But for me, in a committed relationship, I feel really safe having sex with you, which feeds my emotional, the emotional part of me and sex. And it's something that I know only you and I share. And so not only do I feel safe in it, I feel safe talking to you about it.
Sure, right.
And I feel safe enjoying it with you. And I can't imagine, because we're both able, okay, so I can't imagine us saying, let's
it's our choice, because I'd like to hear from other people. Maybe some other people have chosen the opposite, right?
Exactly.
I think that's okay.
Okay. Right, and that's why we're doing this video. We did another video on love versus lust, which again would be someone, whether you're in a committed or not committed, so check that one out. But we also did a video.
And that's more for, that's going back to someone that's dating, and
exactly,
they're into the sex, and maybe that was the lust and they didn't really have the love,
right,
which is different. Now we're talking about, this is a married couple making a decision,
married or committed, again, let's just be clear there.
Yeah.
And we did another video just entitled Sex, on how often someone in a committed relationship should have sex. And again, though, that's just our thoughts on it, and we did ask other people what their thoughts are, and we got some really interesting comments and some private message comments as well. But this is different. This is no sex, celibacy. And I think everyone knows celibacy means abstaining from sex, and in this particular case we're talking about abstaining from all sexual encounters with your spouse. So not just intercourse. Everything is off the table for now.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess I want to leave this open, because I want to hear other people's opinions on this.
That's what celibacy is.
Yes. Yeah. I guess so.
Because
I guess I know. I hope I never really know, but yeah, you're right. So anyway, it's an interesting topic. So
what's your philosophy on it from a man's
I have always said, I don't know if I said this in this video, but love and sex go hand in hand, and what I mean by that is, it's like peanut butter and jelly going together. It's not required. You can have one without the other. You can have
some people like plain peanut butter.
You can have love without the sex, or plenty of people are dating, they're having sex, and then maybe they're not in love, and that kind of thing. But I think it goes hand in hand, in my opinion, that if it's something that you can share with someone that you love, it's a great thing. So that's my opinion on it. I wouldn't choose celibacy, but again, at the end of the day, if something like that, something happened medically, or an accident happened where one of us couldn't, it wouldn't be the end of our relationship. Our relationship is much larger than that, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what if I decided that I wanted celibacy in our relationship? What would your response be back to me? If I said to you, Jeffrey, I think that we should be celibate for the next year, for 1 year, because I want to take that energy and place it elsewhere.
I'd probably say that I couldn't hear you and fake that I was deaf. No, I'm just kidding. I would have to talk with you about this, and what's the reason behind it, and I would have to know more about it.
Right.
I mean, if there's a real reason, and it was really something you had to do, I guess I'd have to consider it, right? I mean, I'm making a joke about I
know.
can't hear you, but
that's
you know,
probably how it would
that's
go.
what I'd say first, right?
Yeah, and if you asked me that same question, I'm not going to lie, I would have to think about that, in that, why, first of all, where do you want to put that sexual energy elsewhere that you find is more important than putting it into our intimate, the intimate part of our relationship?
Sure.
And that's really where my first thought goes, is
Right.
because, you know,
I guess there could be a good reason. Actually, I've seen other people, even out here on YouTube, saying that they use that energy, you know, towards their enlightenment, and they're working towards something. They're using all of this power and energy, you know.
But
everybody's
is that more important?
Well,
than
that's
your
what I was just going to say.
relationship?
Everybody's different, and you've got to put your energies into what is important to you. And yet, our relationship with you is, if not the most important thing in my life, you know, one of the most important things in my life. So I think that's why you're asking
Second
that question.
To our health, I think.
So yeah, so the next one would be, all right, where you want to save this energy for something else? What is it? Because this is pretty important, I think, is what you're saying to us.
It would have to be something extremely important, but for me, I can't think of anything unless it was a health issue. But if it's a goal or something, I can't really think of anything that would be more important. And quite frankly, my second thought would be, are you no longer attracted to me in that way? And I know that you would feel the same way.
Sure.
And we've done a lot of videos on self-love. So I know that you feel that you're the sexiest man alive. And I tell you that all the time. So if I stopped wanting to have an intimate relationship with you, I know that your self-love for yourself. And so, and I would, not that I think I'm the sexiest woman alive, I think it's much more difficult for women my age to feel that way as it is for men.
And by the way, you know, I think that's ridiculous. Just
I know
for everybody out there,
ridiculous.
I do think it's ridiculous, because I would tell Karen all the time, I'll look at somebody and say, oh, look at her hair, how beautiful it is. And she's like, it's, you know, it's gray. I said, it's beautiful, right? You know, so
you've always had a, thank goodness for me that Jeffrey's always had a, you know, affinity for women at all stages of life, but especially, you know, in their my age and aging, and you know, a whole nother topic. But anyway, I think my mind would first need to know what's more important than our relationship, and if it's your health, I totally understand that. I can't really think of anything else that would be as important. But second, I would be concerned it wouldn't change my own internal self-love, but I would be concerned about our relationship, in that you weren't attracted to me in that way anymore.
And this is all an ego discussion, obviously, because we're talking about us here. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm making this up, by the way, because I had this whole discussion with my mom today about, you know,
strange that you'd bring your mother up in this video, but let's go with that.
On Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day. So yeah, but it has nothing to do with this video, you're right. But I was talking about how one day people thought the world was flat, and then finally they figured out it was round. So it's like, you only know what you know. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm looking at this mountain here. Well, you're bringing, you said, like, what would we be saving this energy for? Maybe I all of a sudden thought that I could, you know, I could move myself from here to the top of that mountain, you know, some way with my mind. I don't know. And I wanted to use that power to do that. I'm only making this up because, I don't know, something like that. But this is like out to everybody else out there. Why would they do it? I don't know. Why would you make the choice?
Well, and I'm sure the couple that we are, you know, referencing are definitely not the only couple who decided,
well, that's what I'm saying,
in their marriage to go to celibacy. And so I would love to hear from people their thoughts. And I hope that we can hear equally from men and women, because I would love to hear both sides and both perspectives on this, you know, sex versus celibacy in a committed relationship.
That's an interesting topic.
It really is. I'm fascinated by it. So I think we'll probably end up doing another video or two on it, because I find it so interesting, and I really do want to know more about it. So you out there in YouTube land, please give us your knowledge.
Okay, great.
Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from Copper Mountain.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try the celibacy thing for the next hour. See you guys. Please subscribe.